Welcome, District 12 Toastmasters. Today, we're interviewing Suzanne Leonard. Welcome, Suzanne.
Thank you, Rob. My pleasure and joy to be back and tell you the rest of my story about leadership. I talked a bit about speaking and how that was an essence and an important need that I had, but also stepping into leadership. Like I said, I started out as a sergeant at arms because I saw the importance of that role. Nobody was going to be locked out because I forgot. But leadership, I had a couple of chums say, why don't you be president of our club? And okay, all right. And then, gosh, I think, why don't you step in, do some speeches, maybe? Maybe you'd be a good. I think you should be our next club growth director. And I said, kind of naively, what's that exactly? What am I stepping into? I didn't know. But I had a friend in my club we were challenging each other, about speeches and things. Pathways wasn't a part of the learning component, but it was a good, rich way to begin. So we did some paths together, parallel. Let's do this one. Let's do that one. So I said, all right. All right, let's be club growth director or let's do something together. So we started as area directors in Division D and had just a great, great year. We had wonderful events that we co-planned. So right away it was that team approach, which I've always loved about Toastmasters. Tom Jameson says we are a family, and indeed I believe we are. I've helped out in many ways at many times for many reasons, and so have people also helped me. So I started my leadership path in District 12 as a Area D director. And it was the year, of course, that Esther Pafla led us to imagine the possibilities, and I was able to walk across the stage in Washington, D.C., and hold the banner. There were all of us bunching in to be a president's distinguished district. It was just amazing. So that was a good omen. I thought, well, we're on to something. I can maybe help do this. And so the next year, my friend who's in real estate decided to bump up that career, and she wasn't ready to join me as a district director, which is the next step up in leadership from area director. I said, oh, darn. And yet I found many of my friends were district directors in different divisions, and we had a great year. So by then I had met leaders in our area, Jeremiah Lyle for sure, and Jose Preciano and Angie Nett and Esther Pafla and my teammates, so to speak, in those beginning years of leadership, and said, well, club growth director. And I said, oh, and they said, now, we'll help you. We've been there, we've done that, we'll help. So I was club director in the years, now this is important to remember, 2019 to 2020. And I was having a great time with that. And Jose and Jeremiah and I were all in Denver at that mid-year leadership, January 2020, just planning things. And I had 5 clubs that were already chartered. And, it's just mid-year and we had 5 more on the books. And I was excited. And Jose was talking about TLI and all the things. And Jeremiah, of course, division director then, was telling us about what he thought we needed to do in the next 6 months to be distinguished. And then March happened in 2020, and we all went underground. It was like, I would call all the leads I had, and some had, this phone has been disconnected, this business is, so we didn't quite finish the way we thought we might. And then the next 3 years were very challenging because we learned how to live in the box. We learned how to do and be all this right here. And so gestures are important, and, leaning in and leading out. And I missed that. I missed our in-person. And so some of us hadn't even met when we started to go hybrid, except in the box. And I remember hugging people and saying, you're so tall. And how do you measure height in a box? You don't know how. Or you're so much cuter in person. I love those. But anyway, so we managed the COVID years that began with Jeremiah, and then Jose and I. Everything was in the box. We didn't go to convention. We just kept the ship afloat, if you would, and did a good job with it. I really feel proud of our years there. And then slowly but surely we're coming into the hybrid environment, which I'm enjoying as well. It's the way of the future. I mean, we have international members in two of my clubs, and it just broadens the scope, although it's not always a difficult venue to manage with who's going to show up and who knows how to run Zoom and all the rest of it. And I never stay in the assigned space. They're all following me with camera because, I'm a first grade teacher and then some. And so I move around when I speak. But I've enjoyed the leadership journey. 3 years out of being District 12 director, I'm able to give more energy to my 3 clubs and also mentor. I'm loving not mentoring to get to my DTM, I have that as well, but just mentoring, seeing people come in, knees knocking, trying out a table topics, then maybe 2, then maybe a role, then their icebreaker. We have several in Valley Club. We have new members that are doing icebreakers. I didn't think I could. One did their second speech and is like, "You are awesome already. I hope we can teach you a few things." But it's just that process that keeps us going and growing, I believe. Our time has come. 100 years in teaching people not how to talk, but how to speak eloquently to the needs and desires and wants of those who are hungry at being more public with their ideas and their service to their families and communities and all those kinds of things. Toastmasters really does have a place in everyone's life. Even if you aren't a CEO of your own company yet, you still have a place to grace the world, our world, with speaking that is eloquent, that is helpful, that is kind, all those things that we need in the world, we have. And so I would say, here's to our next 100 years. Thank you, Rob.
Thank you for doing this, Suzanne.